What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Total Takedown. We are talking UFC Vegas 110 this week. On this show, we look for an alternate way for you to make some cash betting on these fights. We're looking over and under. And this week, usually you guys, I handpick a couple of totals. I like most of the totals on the board this week, so we actually have a lot to talk about. Do me a favor, get subscribed if you haven't yet. Hit that like button. Let's get into it. First fight of the night, Talita Alencar takes on Ariane. Why was that so hard? Talita Alencar takes on Ariane Carnelossi in the first fight of the night. We have a 2.5 total. The over, classic women's MMA, is chalked up to about minus 230, minus 240. The under, you're getting a nice plus 185, plus 175 number. This is one I actually want to make an argument for the under on, okay? We know Ariane Carnelossi is built like a man, and I mean that in the most respectful and complimentary way possible. She hits like an absolute freaking truck. Talita Alencar is going to have to take this woman down. Now, once we get Carnelossi on the mat, we know she does not know what she's doing down there. Sometimes it takes everything you've got just to hold her down. That's entirely possible, but we have seen her submitted. We have seen her TKO'd. It's not like she's invincible once she gets on the mat. If she's in a defensive position, she is going to have a drastic disadvantage here against Talita Alencar, who is a world-class BJJ player training with other world-class BJJ players for MMA. So I think there's a very real possibility that Talita Alencar comes out here, gets the grappling going, finds a back take or a head and arm choke, and submits this girl. Now, if that doesn't happen, the flip side of this is much like last week, Jacqueline Amarim. If Talita Alencar is not able to control the grappling, then she's going to be stuck on the feet with this chick, and you do not want to be stuck on the feet with Ariane Carnelossi. She will come forward and wing powerful hooks. She'll look like Jessica Andrade out there trying to take your head off. You're in trouble if that happens, and with Alencar's skill set, she is going to be in serious trouble if she's stuck standing with this chick. So I actually kind of like this under 2.5. I think you can argue violence on both sides. I think a round 2 submission for Talita Alencar is totally on the table. And at any point in time, Carnelossi can bonk this girl and teach her that this is MMA and not jiu-jitsu. Plus money. I kind of like it this week. Next up, you've got Phil Rowe taking on Sung Hyung Ko. We got a 2.5 total. The over is chalked at minus 150, minus 155, somewhere in that ballpark, you guys. I kind of like the over in this one. I know there's opportunities for an under here, okay? Ko can grapple. Phil can grapple. Phil's got great jiu-jitsu. Phil can hit hard. He's very lanky. He's very long. Ko is explosive, closes the distance fast. But what do we know about both these guys? They're both very durable, okay? So Phil slows down in fights. We've seen that before. We've seen him give up positions and roll to his back and look for subs. We've seen Ko hit takedowns. We've seen him camp out on top of people. And he can wrestle. We know this. On the feet, we know Phil Rowe will try to come forward and cook you, but what does Ko do? He's very Lyoto Machida-esque. He will bounce on his feet. He will keep the range in the distance. He'll explode when he needs to, but he's not going to go into like a barn burner type of situation. He's not going to sit in the pocket and trade with Phil Rowe. These are all things, in my opinion, that extend the fight. No matter who wins this one, I think it's going to go that full 15 minutes. This might get a little hairy in that third round when one of these guys gets tired, but I kind of think the over 2.5 is the move at slight chalk. Now, we're back with the women here. Elise Ardeline taking on Montserrat Rendon. The under 2.5 is a nice, juicy plus 210 here in this spot. And guys, I think there's a better way to play this, but because it's a total show and we're talking about totals, I like the under here. I think Elise Ardeline is going to finish Montserrat Ruiz. Ruiz has been finished already in the UFC a couple of times. The only success she has had in the UFC is that weird head and arm toss thing that she does. She will not be able to do that against Ardeline. Ardeline is too big, too strong, too physically powerful. It's just not going to work. And when that doesn't work, the entire rest of the MMA playbook opens up. She's going to be able to strike with her. And if you can't grapple her, you're stuck on the feet. We saw how hard Elise Ardeline hits in her last fight. I give Ruiz all the benefit of the doubt as far as being tough goes. But this could be a mercy stoppage. Her face could be completely busted up, bludgeoned and bloody. It's going to be her last UFC fight. There's no way she gets an extension after this one. I see no reason why her corner couldn't throw in the towel or the referee is just going to save her at a certain point after she gets completely busted up by this TikTok star. I like Elise Ardeline inside the distance here. But for the sake of this show, we'll say under, right? We'll talk about the props in a minute here. All right, we're going to skip over a couple of fights, you guys. The next one I want to talk about is Billy Elikana and Kevin Christensen. The over 1.5 is slight chalk here. Minus 140, minus 145. You guys know how I feel about greasy light heavyweights and greasy heavyweights. If we get a pick'em price tag, if we can just squeeze up and over, if we can pucker that butthole just enough to get me over that 2 minutes and 30-second mark of round 2, that's what we like to do. Because a lot of times, especially with guys like these, long, lanky dudes that want to keep the range, they want to keep the pace, they want an evenly matched fight, they want to slow it down, they don't really want to get hit on the jaw, they extend the fight. And that's exactly what Billy Elikana does. We've seen him be relatively well-rounded. We're not entirely sure what we've got in Kevin Christensen at this entire point, but I think Billy's probably the much more upside fighter, but from what we've seen, he likes to control the distance, he likes to control the space. I do think he'll be in the driver's seat this weekend, and if that is the case, I fully expect him to be winning a fight that probably goes the full 15 minutes. Maybe if Kevin can't hang, he gets him out of there in the second or the third round. But I think we get up and over a round and a half. So minus 145, over 1.5 rounds. That'd be the way I would look here. Alan Nascimento and Cody Durden. I can't wait to talk about this one. This is the classic 2.5 total that looks like it should go under, and I'll probably bite, and then it'll probably go over. Let me explain. We've got a pick'em price tag here at 2.5. So this fight going 15 minutes is not a given. The bookies want you to pick a side. I always manage to pick wrong. Alan Nascimento likes to sit on people's chests. He's a wet blanket. He's a size bully. He gets in there. He just lays on people. That's his whole shtick, right? He's a great BJJ player. He's got serious power striking. He's very big. I already mentioned the size bully part. So he can hurt people on the feet or on the mat. He can submit people, get them out of there. You have to respect the under here because of how dangerous this man is. Now, Cody Durden is as aggressive as it gets. This guy wants to come forward. He already came out and said he wants to be the new Kevin Holland. Like, he wants to punch people in the face. He wants to take people down. He wants to ground and pound them. He wants to submit them. Like, he's an all-action type of fighter. That's exactly what he's looking for here in this spot. So Cody coming in on short notice, taking on a big man who we know can slow down and gas out. If Cody does this the way he can, I can see Nascimento getting tired, especially if he has a tough weight cut, and then losing this fight in the second round. I can see him getting finished by Cody Durden's overwhelming pressure once he starts to get tired and slows down if he's not able to control the grappling. Now, the flip side of this is true. Cody, we know, when he gets tired, has a problem with submission defense. We know he's left his neck hanging out there more than once. There's that Jake Hadley armbar situation that I bitch about every single Cody Durden fight because I should have gotten paid for it, and he just gritted his teeth to get through it. Alan Nascimento's another level on the mat, you guys. So if he gets Cody in a sub, not even an armbar, but a sub in general, he's going to finish it. So I think both guys have finishing upside, and frankly, I think both guys can be finished. So at a pick'em price tag, under 2.5. And like I said at the top of this preview, this is going to be like Davey Grant all over again. Because I said it's going under, Alan Nascimento is going to go into cruise control in round 2 and just lay on Cody Durden. We're going to get a boring 15-minute decision fight, and Nascimento will be sent the way of Hamdi Abdelwahab and get cut by the UFC because he's phoning it in here on this one. No, I like under. Let's root for under, and I'm going to say Alan Nascimento wins that by sub. We will check that number in Clint's Hot Props. Charles Radke and Daniel Frunze is the next fight we can chat about here. 1.5 total for this one. Over 1.5, slight chalk, minus 130. Under 1.5 is even money. So in this fight, I think you have to look under, you guys. I really do. These two men are built to bang. That's what they do. The only way I see this fight going over 1.5 is if Charles Radke decides he wants to wrestle. Every other fight we've seen from Chuck Buffalo, he comes out guns blazing and wants to put somebody away. The same could be said for Frunze. And I think they will both force the other to fight that way as well. Because we've seen opponents who don't want to dance. And then these guys get extended because their opponent wants to play it that way. Both these guys want to bang. So unless somebody in here decides they're not having it, I think this fight's going under. It is a little fishy, right? It is a little trappy that they're giving us plus money on the under, I feel like. But in MMA, sometimes that's just the way it goes. I think both these guys are going to come out swinging. And if that's the case, give me an under. Jeremiah Wells and Themba Gorimbo is the next fight I want to talk to you about here. The total set at 2.5, and you've got to pick them again on this 2.5. This is very, very similar to the Alan Nascimento and Cody Durden fight that we spoke about just a little bit ago, except I think this one's going over. Jeremiah Wells, he's had some injury struggles. He's 39 years old now. He's taking on a younger contender, but what we know from Themba is he doesn't have like the technical skill, I think, to take out somebody like a Jeremiah Wells. Unless Wells is dealing with like a big time injury that's, made it incapable for him to do cardio, etc. He's going to go out there and he's going to cause Themba to fight. Themba's going to have to grapple to be able to survive. Now, we just saw Themba get clubbed and subbed when he took a big step up in competition. He's getting a little bit of a break here. He's going to have the height and reach advantage, the size advantage. Even though Jeremiah Wells looks like a brick shit house, he might have the strength advantage as well. And I think we're going to get a grappling match. I mean, the very best thing that Themba has that he can do is wrestle. He gets on top of people, he holds them down, he flows from that top position. If you get Jeremiah Wells in full-on defensive grappling mode, I don't know that Themba's going to be able to submit him. I think Themba can hit hard enough that he could spark him and put him out. If he gets to a dominant position and, like, let's say crucifix positions him and pounds him out with elbows or something like that. Like, don't get me wrong, there's opportunities for this fight to finish. And we just saw Themba get knocked out, like I mentioned, or club and subbed. And I think Jeremiah Wells can do that too. But he's so short, he's so stocky. I don't know that he's going to have the same type of opportunity in this spot that Vicente Luque did. So I think this fight's going to go a full 15 minutes. I think it'll be a tough watch, potentially, and it might go the whole way. Steve Garcia and Dave Onama, guys, in your main event. 1.5 total. Over is ever so slightly chalked. And this is another one where I have a tough time because the under on the plus money looks just so obvious. It's like the bookies are just dangling out there for you. Come on, come get it. It's a Steve Garcia fight. Of course you want the under. I've seen David Onama get hit in the head with a freight truck, and he just kind of took a couple deep breaths and came back and kept going. This guy is so hard to actually get out of there. Yes, we've seen him rocked a lot, but we also have not seen him get finished many times. So I think he's going to be able to survive the early damage from Steve Garcia, and then he'll be able to extend the fight. Now, Steve Garcia is extremely big at this weight class, very strong, very powerful. He can wrestle, and that's something I think is maybe a little bit underrated about his game. Now that he's getting these steps up into these like main event type of slots, you got to take 5 rounds into consideration. And if you're taking that into consideration, maybe you're not going so haywire early. Maybe you're not throwing those bungalows quite so early in the fight to get started. So I actually think there's a chance Steve Garcia slows down just a tad, and maybe he peels back the aggression because of the level of opponent that he's facing. He's not just going to keep running through these guys at this level. Kind of like the Calvin Kattar fight, he's going to have to go a little bit longer with some of them. So I kind of think this is the sweaty butthole pucker that you take the over 1.5. Now, is it going the distance? It's a 5-round main event. I doubt it. But do we have the balls, the cojones, to ladder this over 1.5 and the 2.5 and the 3.5? Probably not. This may not be that fight, you guys, but I think we can bank on the durability of these boys to get us at least into round 2. And if we can get into round 2, I think we're getting up and over that 2 minutes and 30-second mark. Lean to the over 1.5. That's the total takedown, everybody. Hit that like button. We'll see you in a minute here for Clint's Hot Props. Let's roll.